Hey guys, it's been a little while since I've posted or since I've recorded videos. I guess I'm trying to post once a week. But at this point, excuse me, I've gotten the body back now from the upholsterers and stripped it completely. The upholstery is here. It's in a trailer. You saw an earlier video that gave you kind of a quick snapshot of where we're at. But at this point, then I pulled everything off: the door handles, everything, the harness, the body harness is still in the car and will remain in the car. All the wiring is in the doors, but all the hardware is removed: the solenoids, the windows, operating mechanisms, all that. This is bolted to a movable pallet, a cart, if you will. And basically what I'm doing is I'm getting all the door gaps finalized, hitting all the bare metal spots with surfacer, or pardon me, with epoxy. And then I did wind up finishing up the new firewall. So I've got that in. It's got the cutout, of course, the coil pack and the bell housing sit in here. The heater hoses are in a recess. The throttle cable's in a recess, and then the battery lines are in. This is a tapered recess, sweeps up. So the the brake cables then come underneath the master and then run down there and route underneath. So they'll be more flush with the firewall, at least at the bottom, but it slants back a little bit there. Finished it all the way to the bottom, and it transitions very nicely, and it's all epoxy coated. Again, hit all the bare metal spots, cleaned everything up, hit all the bare metal spots, and stripped it down. So I got that. I still have the hood to finish. You can see that it's been here a while. There's some flash rust from where it was handled and touched, and I'll powder blast that with coal slag. That's what I've been using. It doesn't warp the material. Works really well. It's not super cheap, but it's currently about 11 bucks a bag. I can get it at Menards. Right there it is. Black Blast. It's just coal slag. And I did blast these again because they've been sitting for a while, and I hit them with epoxy yesterday, flipped them over, hit them again this morning. And we have the hood inner structure, which that is complete. The original 1930 visor that screws in. You can see the holes right here and along the top. And that'll cover up the windshield wipers, and then the two hood sides, of the two hood sides, I made this one second. That's the first one I made, and I finished the bottom structure to form around the fenders. I did not finish it on this one. I'll have to grind that back when I get to the point of finishing it, but I cannot finish it until I have the front fenders mounted on the car again. So the car, the body, and the contents is going to my brother. My brother is a professional, has been a professional body shop guy for 40, well, let me think here. For easily 40 years. If you include the work that he's done before he went to college. So he's going to help me get this thing put together. We're going to do a swap. I'm going to work on his car, do some wiring, and get that thing set up. And being he is my brother, and we do a lot together. I can work in his shop. He can work in mine. As we barter through each other's vehicles. This has been run. The micro skirt, everything is effective. The tables, I'm working on the tables right now. kind of finish it out. But everything at this point is working. My son is building the digital dash for it, and I'm working on the gauge setup for that to get that into the dashboard. So there's a lot of trinkets to show here in short order, but we are moving right along. I do have a few spray outs, but we're going to continue with spray outs for body color. These are various levels of candy. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 layers of candy over, in this case, a charcoal gray base, and in this case, a black base, which on the black in here, you can, and really almost anywhere, you can barely see it. So we are working on that for the body color. We did try a different shade over the same 2 bases. And again, the black, you can just start to see it in there on 1 coat, but this is candy. You get 1 coat of candy on and you're not gonna have much consistency over it. So the black is probably gonna go away if we use candy. It's we're gonna do a spray out with diamond, or with pearl on the black base and on the charcoal base, and see what the results are with that until we achieve the color. You probably have seen, you have seen the steering wheel. I have got the horn and the back done, and we did the prototype out of just some cheap wood at my buddy's house, who's building it for me, who's doing the woodworking part of it for me. And he's got, yesterday I went over there and we've got the results finalized on the dimensions and the prototype. And so I purchased the material for the final, and he's going to start on that very shortly. So then we'll finish out the steering wheel. And that's it. That's the status as of right now. So we're moving right along. Trinkets after trinkets after trinkets. This is one of the 5 door handles that we 3D printed for the car. And this one I did a test on to see if we could get her to chrome. And we failed. We failed because of the type of chrome paint that I used. It has to be clear coated if we're going to do chrome on it. So now I'm kind of tossing between, black chrome or chrome, and for the just as an adder for trim on it. I don't want to go loud at all with chrome, but like the hubcaps are chrome. I want to get chrome trim rings, some of that stuff. A few of the things under the hood are polished. I know many videos ago I said no to chrome, and then here I am, making and polishing pieces for it. So I've got a couple of pieces coming for the dash. I'm having one machined, the bezel for the gauges. The piece that I've been working on, I probably have shown you in the past. It takes on that shape. That's a plasma cut shape. And at the moment, because I've got everything in such disarray, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's at the machine shop. So I guess at this point what I'm doing is just trying to get all of the little bits and pieces done. I don't have a finish for these yet, but these are the interior panels, the inserts, if you will, for all of the door panels. I have this in now, and the bezel, the speedometer or dash display bezel is what I'm having machined, and I'm just going piece by piece, bit by bit down the line by getting each one of these brought up. So these are just sprayed out now with a surfacer. I sanded them down, filled in the little creaks and crevices. These are all fiberglass. And it had a pinhole right there, so I sprayed and I got sags. Got a little buildup on here. You can see that. That's all fine. I mean, it's surfacer. I'll block that all down before I finish it. Special attention on getting all these straightened out, those cavities for the switches. These, of course, turned out beautiful. I had some delamination on the fiberglass, air bubbles in the fiberglass. I filled all that and just basically went through and I'm getting them ready to go. So those will block out. I'm thinking I'm going to do a wood grain on those as well to match the garnish moldings and the wood on the dash. But we'll see. We'll see where it takes us. But that's the phase I'm at this point, and it's rolling along pretty well. Well, it's another day. These are the fiberglass inserts. We got a few hours on them on the second coat. The inserts that go into the door. They're all wrapped. I mean, that's no big deal, and they're on the second coat of urethane. Color sand, 320 between coats. Gonna get 4 or 5 coats on them, just like the garnish moldings. And I had an idea. TIG rod, aluminum, 1/8" aluminum TIG rod. And so what I did is I formed them around and just welded them on this edge right here, and then just took them out to a polish. So far I've got 4 done, and those will be if you will, those will be bonded. I'm going to try 1/8" double-sided foam tape, like 3M tape. I found 1/8". It's not 3M. I couldn't find 3M. The smallest was 1/4 inch, and I'm not going to cut it. And so those will go bond to those panels. I'll insert the panel, okay, and then I'll rim it with the foam tape, and then I'll gently place that in so everything centers up and looks good. There are discrete differences, of course. These are all handmade. Yeah, they came out of a mold, but by the time they come out of the mold and they're sanded and then covered in upholstery and all that, you don't necessarily have spot-on dimension differences or similarities between the door. They're minor. I mean, they're well within 1/16 inch, but I want them to fit and visually look. Those wound up being the same. That was luck. These wound up being slightly different, and the differences are unremarkable and not necessarily, not at all visual, but the distance from there to here is slightly less on this door, about 1/16 inch less. But again, so I'm making them for each panel, and basically the method that I'm using, of course, it's aluminum TIG rod, so that's extremely easy to do. But I found an old spring puller that I made years ago for pulling the springs off the clutch of a snowmobile or a CVT, and some of you might be familiar with that, or you pull a hood spring or whatever. But I made this a long time ago. But this radius here and this radius here get me into the smaller gives me these turns right here, and the larger gives me this turn right here. So, and then that's the weld joint, which I basically I'm just using a spool gun and piling it up. I just got my spool gun out, rigged it up, and just piling it up. So I'm setting it down holding it down just where like the corners right here, and then just welding it together. Of course, it doesn't going to stick to the steel, but I can leave that on, dress the corners with my cutoff wheel, and then begin, you know, fine sanding and polishing it. So it's working out well. I got 2 left to build. It's taken hours and hours and hours, but with 4-hour cure, you know, I can jump from there to here, do a few of these, jump back there, put another coat on, and just keep plugging each day, or each hour. Well, I cleaned up to make another mess on the mill. This time it's just all aluminum, because I received my trim bezel for the center of the dash. I just got it kind of mocked into there right now, and it looks like it's going to turn out wonderful. The width is the same width as there. It's a 3/16, and I mounted everything up, mocked this in, mounted everything up. This has been mounted for a little while, but I put the wood pieces on to make sure that my reveal is precisely the same distance. There's no slope or angle or anything on it, and it turned out really nice. Right now I just have some washers. These are the factory mounts. Washer bending up and some popsicle sticks. Right now, as I, what do you want to say, contrive a way to mount this in. So it's not going to be difficult. You know, for this, I'll probably have a piece that bridges this, and it's just tapered down kind of deal. And so maybe I'll bridge these two with a small piece that'll pull down and cinch this in, and then cinch that in. Down below, I opened up where the screws go for the wood piece. You can see I've got one in there, and one over here, and one over here, just some 1024s that I had laying in my box, and the same thing for that side of the steering wheel. I cut everything out that needs to be cut out for mountings, other than I didn't cut these holes out yet for the trim for the dash. But it's gonna be a pretty piece, and I'm really happy with the results so far. So, making progress. So I've been trying to get my videos put together in some semblance of, I don't know, serial fashion, because I'm at that phase where I'm bouncing back and forth. I, you know, got to let this set down to cure, then I got to go to something else, and while it's curing and that kind of thing. But I thought I'd give you a shot here. So this is it's finished. It's got 5 coats of spar urethane on it. I did put the chrome ring on it. You can see a couple of, see, drips from the spar. Right there, right there. All to be expected, to be expected. This will all be wet sanded out, and I'm going to hit this with urethane, or pardon me, with automotive clear coat after I finish wet sanding it. And by that, I mean these were done about a week earlier than that, and these are wet sanded. These because they're just flat panels, I went in and I polished these 2 pieces, but I'm still wet sanding these. There's dust on them, but you can see it right there, that shiny spot. That's a sag that I'm still working out right there, see? But as I get into it, and when it glosses over like that, it still needs another couple of days, day or two to go. And these 2, maybe it was a different one, but this one and one of the other ones had a sag. That one's good. They're all just 800 grit right now, and I'll take them out. think it's right there. There it is, right there. You can see the edge of it right there. Yes. So I'll take it out. I'll take them out to 1500 and then maybe 2000, but these I polished at 1500. They need to be somewhat satin. I'm just hand polishing them, just buffing them with a microfiber cloth and some polish because I want them to simulate the trim, which was more of a satin finish than a high gloss. So that's what I'm doing with these. And these are the cards that go into the door panels. So again, that's curing out, and this has been upholstered now. This will set into there. This is a 3D printed part. You saw that in an earlier portion of this video. And I filled the well up with acrylic paints then, wherever it's black is where the plastic was raised up. And I filled them with acrylic paint to simulate the seats and the design that I have inside. And that then becomes the steering button. Of course, this is the horn button. I barreled the heads of some Allen screws. They're adjustable for depth then, so I can adjust the depth of the horn. These are contacts, and that's where the horn wire connects to. And so that just simply pops onto there, and you can pop it off. So it is serviceable, like you would expect, I guess. You can assemble it too. So this will get clear coated. This will probably be a satin. Don't really care if the steering wheel goes to a gloss, but a satin tends to keep its sheen, not a high gloss sheen, longer than if I were to do a gloss. And it requires certainly less maintenance. But then that'll be complete once it's cleared. And I'll clear over the chrome. That's why I put the chrome bead on. I'll clear over it. But this will probably need, 2 days to a week before I can actually get in wet sanded, and maybe even leave it set for 3 to 4 weeks before I clear coat it. I want to make sure it's completely dry. I've been taking, for the last couple of days that and those outside in the sun during the day. We've had some nice days, 70s and 80s, and it really the ultraviolet light, the wind, and the heat obviously help accelerate the cure. This isn't designed for exterior. It says indoor outdoor, but this is designed for exterior, so it's an exterior grade product. So that should work good. Once those cards, again, another couple of days, I'll final block those. Then those will go into the door cards. These are the trim pieces. This is aluminum TIG rod. Welded the ends together, polished them out. And those will go in as the chrome rings. You just polish, the aluminum to a sheen. Those will be bonded to the wood panels with some 1/8 inch wide foam that'll be underneath. I'll stick the card in, right? Stick the card in, get it positioned, and then perimeter foam it or double side it, and then very carefully and gently line those up and push those in, so that this will come out this will be part of the card assembly. If I'm not satisfied with the bond to that, then I can go into the very edge on the outside perimeter and do some spotting with epoxy. But I'm pretty certain that's going to hold it just dandy. So then the door, the upper portions of the door cards are done. The lowers are done. The dash is done. The dash bezel. That was a CNC machine piece. That one was a form piece, seen in an earlier video. I got the wood on just to kind of simulate what, I think I videoed that a little bit. And then the back for all the mountings are completed. And that's for the display, the flat screen display that'll be on there that'll hold the gauges. So it's coming along great. This is flipped over because guys all say, hey, it's sagging. I used to have it up against the wall like that. It's sagging. No, that's the contour of the roof. This prevents guys from saying that, number one. Number two is, if it is, I better turn it around. So in any event, that's what's going on, and I'm making some great progress. Hey guys, it's been a little while since we've talked in my timeline. So this is the color of the car. Kind of looks gloss black with a little green hue to it, but as I rotate it up, you can start to see it's loaded with pearl, green and gold pearl, to give that color flop. You know, we'll go under there. It's a cloudy day, so get under there. There, you can see it pretty good. Okay, so, and that's what I was trying to achieve. Something olive, but in the dark range to show off the bodywork. This wasn't a very spectacular clear job. It was just one coat sprayed over the card. But now you can see you got that olive kind of green over a black base, or mixed in actually with the black base. It's not a tri-coat, which is really nice because this will be panel painted. And because it'll be panel painted, you want everything to go together. We tested candies, we tested everything, and came up with that for a solution. The candies would be nice, but panel painting with a candy is very difficult, especially if you've got a couple of guys painting it. And with the number of components involved in this car, you think about the headlight stanchions, the taillight stanchions, all of the pans, all of the doors off of the car hanging, the hood panels, grill, fenders, running boards. There's a lot of pieces to paint to get this done. My son 3D printed the grills. This is a revision from the original, just to get them open enough to make sure that they're dissipating or exhausting heat. And they're based on the size of the 3D printer, we could print them in halves. And he's the same gentleman that did this piece here that is finished. And this was done in quadrants in 4 pieces, you know, then bonded together and finished up. And so it'd be the same process here. I'll have to come in with and get these filled with probably epoxy after I pull it off of here. Just get each one of these filled, reposition it, and then sand the whole thing down. In this case, I did break off the end as I was monkeying around, so I'll have to fix that. In any event, then these will be sanded and finished. The other thing that I did is, this is the original hood side, the first hood side that I built, and I had all this done. And over the course of the time I had access to, when I had my fenders on my car and I was working on other things, I stopped and built this panel too. Now everything was cut at the same time, so they're mirror images, right? I just flipped this piece of sheet metal over as compared to that, and when I built the hood. But then anyway, I finished welded this, and then here yesterday, then I finished the bottom piece. This was just unwelded, so I came in. I don't have the body here any longer. It's in paint, or it's at finish, which is, you know, blocking it. Whatever filler it needs, blocking it, and then painting it. So I got this all done. It worked out really well. All I did was made a pattern, taped this off, cut a pattern out, and sticky side up, right? And then made the pattern for that side. So that's done, and I'm into the finer details of the work here, and that's going along well. I'm waiting for this to cure on these panels, but I did continue to polish and had some communication on the sheen. This has got a few layers on it sanded. This has got 4 layers on it sanded with 320 and then chromed. Okay, and waiting for cure. This stuff, when you start to wet sand it, as I was doing it, I had a couple of sags, and so I wet sanded it, the sags out by hand, but eventually you'd get to it would start to peel, right? So I stop, wait a few days, do it again, stop, and so on, until finally I got to the point where I could polish it. So I polished them off, and I don't think that the sheen is, that's flatter than the garnish moldings and all the other interior trim, and that's glossier. And so I'm just going to satin clear the whole works. The satin clear will lock in the chrome bead into the steering wheel. We'll rough these, we'll Scotch Brite these out now that they're flat and wet sanded. And yeah, I took them to 2,000 and then went with the polishing compound, so they're out to about 5,000 now, but it's just too shiny. So I'm going to get them the satin look with automotive clear, because their door handles are going to hit your fingernails scratching on them, all kinds of contact they'll see, and as well as obviously the steering wheel. So that'll put a protective coating on them. There is, when you do this, there is some risk to shrinkage, right? Climate changes, because this material over temperature changes, because this material is softer and remains soft through its life. Does it cure? Yes. I've done a lot of research on this. So I'm going to go another couple of months on these panels to make sure everything is fully cured, to the point that if I put a fingernail on it, I do not leave an impression. Right now, if I put a fingernail on it, it will leave an impression and it will flow out in a couple of days. And so I know I'm not ready. So go a couple of months and let that fully cure out, and then hit it with about the time we'll probably be doing some panel spraying for the car. We'll just hit these with flat or satin clear. So, and other than that, a couple of lessons learned. Of course, I ran the fuel line through all of the fittings, and I very recently pulled the fuel line out of it because I kept leaking at the connections, at the fittings. I'd fix them. I replaced a couple of fittings up here, one here, and then I think one down here at the T for the injector rail. And so I wanted to either go hard line or pull them out. So that's the return line and the supply line. Pulled out. They do run along the rail, along the frame rail in here, but it's boxed up here and back here, and it goes up over the dog leg and through AN fittings, bulkhead fittings. It turns 90 and comes out here and there. If you picked up on it from that shot, you may recall that the return line and the fuel filter, it's a Corvette style fuel filter / return line for the 58 PSI, or regulator, we can call it that. It's regulated within the filter. I'm going to go down to just the supply line at a bulkhead here, substantially reduce the amount of fittings, come off the tank directly into the filter. My return line, supply line, return line, all right there, and that. I'm going to replace these with hard line. In both cases, hard line, coated steel line. And this, I don't know if I'm going to go coated steel or flex. I'll probably go flex on this. And then replace those and all that with PTFE, ethanol rated line. It's killing the O-rings or the little flat gaskets that go into the fittings when you put the hose fitting together. It starts leaking. So I'm done. Now I start over, be twice the cost. Of course, I got a bunch of rubber fuel line, but don't fall victim to that. After a year, it eats the rubber and they start leaking. So lesson learned. And of course, after research, stay away from aluminum. I got an aluminum tank on my 37, and it sends the white shit up into your fuel filter. And eventually I'll change that out. You know, if I have to change the filter too often, I'll start changing that out. Anything past the filter is going to burn in combustion, but you don't want plugged fuel filters. So that's where I'm at. Haven't fired this thing up for a while because of the other things that I'm working on and getting the car ready to go. So we're moving along.